So welcome to the Joy of Drawing. We're going to learn to do a robin, and I'm Caroline Mustard, and I'm going to be your instructor today. So here we go. So what you're going to do is you just get some kind of a photograph of a robin. You can get them easily from Google. And then you're going to need various different you're going to need some watercolor paper. I'm using watercolor paper. And then you'll need a pencil, like even an HB or a 2B. And by the way, and here I've got my pen. So this is my favorite pen. I like these quite a bit. They're called microns. And this is a 08, but 05s are also good. Black one. And then also, obviously, an eraser here, and then you need a watercolor brush, and I would probably prefer a bigger one with a point, and a good one that makes a good point, but you don't need much more. We're not going to be doing a lot of watercolor at this point. And so now we're going to, and of course these are little watercolors that I have just with a few warm colors on them, of course some water, and you always need to have some paper towel. Because that's really important when you're doing watercolor. So we'll put all these things away, and then we'll get going. And I have to apologize to you ahead of time because I realized when I actually looked at, yeah, we're going to use a pencil first and a pen. So when I looked at my hands, I realized they're really, on my right hand is covered with paint because I've been cleaning up all my paints. And I thought I got it all off, but I don't, so pardon me. So first thing we're going to do is just draw a couple of circles, just to kind of see how that goes. A little circle for his body, and then a little circle for his head. That circle's going to start about the halfway part, and then bigger, bigger, bigger. So I think I didn't make it quite big enough. Yeah, you go about there. Could have gone a little bit bigger. And then you're going to connect the circles together. Like that. So you connect them together. And then you're going to find out where's his eye going to come, maybe halfway down the circle. I think I put it a little bit too far down. But you know what? It doesn't matter. And then right across from there, you see, you can notice that his beak, it's like directly right out, his nose comes right out of his eye. Okay, so there you go. So now you've got the rough shape. That's all we want. Done very lightly because you're going to be erasing this. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll erase the bits we don't want and keep on our drawing. And now you can see that there is a lovely line which is the side of his this little wing there. And then you can see that how I figure out where his little feet start is I'm looking at his right foot. I line it up. I see, wow, it comes all the way. It's quite far over to the left, actually. And then I'm putting his other foot in. And then I'm going to put in his talons, and they're quite big. The talons are surprisingly big because they have to support his whole body, his little fat body. And now I'm going to put in a little tail. Oh, we've got a little tail there coming out the back. So, and of course, if you prefer, you can always trace this step or, use gridding or whatever technique you like. So I'm just showing you if you want to go ahead and draw it from a photograph, you can do that. And it's very easy to find these robins. You just put robin, on white background into Google, and you'll come up with all kinds of things, and you just print it off. You'll probably find this one. I think this is from Adobe. That's where I got this one. All right, so I'm going to just, erase out most things here because I'm going to be ready in a minute to go to my pen and ink. So you can see it's very light. And so here's my pen. So I'm going to do very small little marks as if it was the little fur, like their little feathers. So just little lines. We call these lines hatching lines. And I'm just going to I'm not drawing an actual line straight. I'm just doing little dots, little kind of almost little, as if it was just tiny little feathers going around. And I'm going to do, that's his, here we go with his little chest. Here I'm just going to do a little bit the edge of his chest. And so then we go down here to see that we've got his wings starting here. And these wing lines are much stronger. So I'm going to put these things so you can see. You don't have to be perfect about this. Just kind of do the best you can. And so I'm just putting these, and here we go with his little beak, which is quite long. And then we'll go to his eye, which is, and then the important thing when you start on his eye, I'm just going over his head right now, just a little bit. And you can always make corrections later, but you just sort of get a little bit of an outline going here, see? Now, when you go into the eye, make sure that you leave a little bit of white. You see a little bit of white in his eye. You got to do that. That's the highlight. And if you do it by accident and you cover it up, then you can use some white paint or something. But best is just, so I'm making his eye best as I can, right? Getting it around. It's going okay. All right. And now I'm going to do little tiny lines for his, just sort of his gray, fluffy little feathers here. Just the sort of the grayer part. Now you make sure that around his eye, you can see it's actually yellow. So you don't want to fill that in inadvertently. So make sure you leave a little white section around the eye. And then you can just kind of very softly, you can see I'm holding my pencil further down. And you can see the back of my hand's covered with green paint. That's why I'm so embarrassed. I decided to clean up all my paints yesterday, my oil paints, and made a bit of a mess, so, of my hands, especially. Okay, so now, we're just going to go down through this part. And here we go. Yep. So now this is, I'm going, fairly rapidly now. And just putting in the rest of these little lines, going a bit faster. And I've speeded it up so we don't take forever. But you can see I'm just very carefully, just light little lines, just going over this, just carefully sort of getting the feel of, as if this was his little feathers. And it's a little bit darker under his wing. You can see that. And so just a little bit there. Yeah, quite softly. I'm going back up. And then, I'll look at it and go, oh, I need to fix his head a little bit. I need to fix this. I need to fix that. This is by no means perfect. And then I'm going to put in his little talons here. So this can go fairly fast. And then a little bit of light, very, very light marks underneath his body. And then the talons that are going to go in the snow. We won't paint the snow. We're going to put that in with watercolor later. I'm going to make his eye a little bit rounder there. And yeah, so there he comes. So I'm pretty happy with that now. I'm going to take away all my pencil marks at this point. Now make sure the ink dries before you do this. And then we'll go back, see what it looks like without the pencil marks, and then add a little bit more of the pen and ink in. Make his tail a bit longer. Balance him out. I don't think I've got his head that well formed, but I'm hoping you'll see that it all kind of comes out in the wash. So I don't want you worrying too much and thinking, oh my gosh, you know, I'm never going to be able to do this. You can see mine looks, you know, not perfect by a long way, but it'll look pretty cool at the end, I think you'll agree. So putting a little bit of darkness under his wing. And there we have it. So I think that's looks okay. So now I think we're at this point. I recommend that what you do is actually take a bit of a copy of it, and we're going to now put, you know, you've got your black and white, and if you take a photograph of it, you can actually print it off as a black and white, and then do lots of them. So now I'm putting on the color. Now you can put it, I'm putting it just a very light white, yellow all the way over this part of his body. It's all going a very light yellow. You know, anywhere, just a little light yellow part there. And light yellow under and around his eye. And so that's what that is. And then we're going to use a little bit of this, see this kind of, this other yellow, the kind of more dirty yellow, okay? And put that kind of over his body a little bit. And I'm going to put a little bit of blue in right now. And I'll put a bit, I'm going to use some blue to show the snow. Snow looks, it really looks best when it's blue. And I'm going to use a bit of blue into the gray areas. Now, why not black? Because blue looks better. It's going to just look a little bit better, and it'll mix well. And I'm doing this very fast because you don't need me to be spending too long on this. I like to keep the video fairly short. This whole video is 20 minutes long. So that's about the length I like. Actually, it's 18 minutes and 4. So just short. And then I'm just putting, like with wet, I just put some wet on there, and I just dropped some red in there to sort of like allow it to kind of seep out and give me this lovely orangey red breast, okay? And up into his face. There we go. So even though I've got a big brush, it's got a good point on it. So having a good point on your watercolor brush, kind of important. And I'll put a little bit of orange up here in his head, right on the top. And there he comes. And you can keep adding more and more and changing him and doing however you feel, but you can see he's coming along now, looking a little bit like a robin, I think, don't you think? Now, I'm doing a little bit of spotting, so I put a little bit of blue on a very watery brush, and I'm tapping it. And this sort of gives the feeling of maybe some snow. You know, it's just a nice little finishing touch to my robin. And you could literally stay there and just paint the robin. You know, so you could say, okay, I just want a robin right now. You know, or you could go to the next step of the video. And the final step of the video is that we're going to add a little bit of holly. So I'm going to draw some holly leaves a couple of them. I'll just draw the spine first. And then I like to draw the shape of the holly leaf. So even though the holly leaf has got prickly sides, it's really easier if you create a little shape first, like this, and then you kind of know where you're going. And then you can come in with your pen, and then you make the little, like, half circles, see? Little, yeah, there we go. Now this is giving us our prickly holly, piece of holly in his mouth. There we go, and we've got the spine, and then this is the, there we go, and then the spine going up here, and then, you know, put a few little lines in it like this, and then you can add some little round parts for some holly berries. He'd definitely have some holly berries there. They love to eat the berries. And then just for fun, I'm going to put one other one right behind. Oops. And a bit of water on there. And now, by the way, when you do select a black pen, make sure it is water soluble, not water soluble. Do not use a water soluble pen, because when you put your water on it, it'll go runny all over the place. So you need to have water resistant pen. You know, quite a few of them are. So now I'm just going to throw a little bit of, I'm going to erase out now the bit of pencil marks that I had to draw the holly leaf. And then you can just add a little bit of green in. Just being a little bit careful to make sure I've got these little prickly bits in. And then maybe a little bit of, add a bit of black in the leaf behind it, which will help make it pop out a bit. And then the final thing will be to add the little red berries. It'll be a final bit to this little painting. Like I say, if you take scan the image, or take a photograph of it when it's just black and white, you can actually, you can print it several times. You can actually get watercolor paper for your printer, and you can make little cards and give them to your friends. Oh yeah, I'm putting in he's got little red feet here. Gotta give him some red in his feet. And there you have it. That is the final picture.